30 fruits and vegetables a week. Where does this number come from?
This number comes from a really interesting study published quite a few years ago now, 2018, I think, that came out of the Human Gut Project, where they compared the composition and like metabolic activity, like looking at some postbiotic production of the gut microbiomes of people with different overall eating patterns. And one of their analyses in this very extensive paper was to compare people who consumed 30 or more different plant foods per week to people who consumed 10 or fewer different plant foods per week. They didn't look at anything in between. So we don't have like a gradient, like where is a good cutoff number of plant foods. And people who consume more plant foods do also tend to consume more. They tried to correct for how much plant foods was being consumed, but typically, the more variety of plant foods you eat, the more just volume of plant foods you eat. So there's a little bit of an effect there as well. But what they showed was that the people who ate 30 or more different plant foods per week had substantially healthier gut microbiomes than people who consumed 10 or fewer different plant foods per week. And from there, we have the conclusion that 30 or more different plant foods per week is an excellent goal. Here's what we don't know. We don't know if it could be 28 or 25 or 20 or 12, right? We don't know what that like threshold is above which we have a really healthy gut microbiome and below which we don't. And we don't really know that if you were really careful about those 10 different plant foods to hit like all of the different plant families, like hit a legume, hit a nut or seed, hit a cruciferous vegetable, hit a root vegetable, hit a parsley family vegetable, hit a leafy vegetable, hit a citrus fruit, hit a berry, maybe a tropical fruit, and maybe like a beet family. Like if you were to really intentionally eat the rainbow within those like 10 plant families and then like have equal amount of total plant food, would it make a difference at that point? I don't know what the answer to that question is. The mechanism behind this is that we have some gut bacteria that live in our gut microbiomes that they don't care what we feed them, whatever we eat, they're going to be fine. And then we have a bunch of like picky eaters. They really only thrive if they're getting their favorite food, and their favorite food will be one very specific type of fiber. And so we kind of get that diversity of food for a gut bacteria when we eat a diversity of plant foods, because every plant food will have multiple different types of fiber in it. And then different plant foods will have like very subtle differences in, like, even if it's the same class of fiber, like it's all hemicellulose, a small difference in the hemicellulose structure between celery and artichoke might feed different like species of bacteria in our gut. So we're healthiest when we have that wide range of fiber types. But we like this study is often quoted as sort of like being this absolute rule, and it really like this was one small piece of a very, wide-ranging study. And it didn't actually answer the question of what is a minimum number of different plant foods per week, and if there's a way of eating enough plant foods that with less variety, if that would still be equally as beneficial. So I think that it's oversimplification of a fascinating study. Definitely the more variety of foods we eat, the better. There's lots of studies looking at dietary diversity showing that's a really healthy overall eating pattern. But does it need to be 30? Probably not.